Hey everybody.
Woo! Our camera person is gone.
So we've had some
Technical
technical
difficulties.
difficulties. Yeah.
Jessica. Hello, everyone, and welcome to
The Hunt for Harmony.
The Hunt for Harmony. Boy, are we running behind? We are. Please forgive us. We truly did run into some technical difficulties. So we're going to figure that out in the coming weeks, days. But in the meantime, we are here. And before we get started, I want to jump back to last week. As we were talking, someone sent a message and said, I pray about everything. And of course, to us, we're thinking, well, of course, you pray about everything. That's what you do. You pray about everything. But we do want to say, just because we don't mention, oh, pray about it, pray about it, pray about it, doesn't mean you don't pray about it. Of course, definitely, please pray about it. But at the same time, please don't allow your pray about it to get in the way of doing about it. Right. Because the Bible teaches that faith without works is dead. So you can pray and pray and pray, but if you don't put feet to those prayers, then nothing will happen sometimes. The other part to that is, a lot of times you already know what to do, or God has already answered you. And so why do you need to pray? The answer is not going to change. A lot of times we have our answer. We don't want to do it. We don't want to face it. We don't want to deal with it. But in order for there to be change, in order for something to happen, you have to do something about it. So by all means, please pray. We encourage you to pray. But while you're praying, do something. It's not about praying and waiting. Sometimes it's praying and doing. So we wanted to address that before moving forward.
Well, we do. We thank her for that comment.
Absolutely.
And we hope everybody else will comment. And so we can address things. Mm-hmm. We want to know what you're feeling, what you're thinking. Now, tonight's conversation is probably, I'd rather kids not be around listening, because this is a pretty heavy subject, and it probably should have been our first episode. And so if you got kids around, please have them go to their rooms or someplace, so that, we don't want anybody, hurt or kids disturbed by what's being said. And in saying that, we wanted to ask the question, is your marriage healthy? Now, we were talking to a friend over the weekend, and it came to us that, we should definitely let everyone know that we appreciate you listening and watching, but what we're doing is not for everybody, okay? Some of you may be in situations where, there may be some abuse going on. And if that's the case, regardless of what you hear from us or anyone else, it's not going to assist you in making your marriage better, because there's some psychological, some emotional things that have to be taken care of before you can implement this stuff. Mm-hmm. So we just wanted to kind of talk to you about abuse in marriage. I mean, I think I've read that like 85% of domestic violence is of women, but they're 15% men. So and those things can interfere in any marriage. And if you're listening to this and you're getting excited about it, maybe my marriage will work. But if you're in an unsafe situation or an unhealthy marriage, it's not going to work. Okay. Not until some things change, in
the individual.
In the individual.
Yeah. So some of the signs, some of the things, and these are just questions to ask, because our primary question tonight is your marriage safe, or are you in a healthy marriage? And we want to talk about some of the signs, some of the things. First of all abuse is not physical. A lot of abuse is not physical. Um, I've been blessed, and I say blessed only because it exposed me to this, but I've been blessed to know quite a few couples that experienced domestic violence, and some have ended in divorce. A few have ended in desertion or abandonment, and some have continued to endure, continue to go through the marriage. And they vary. Like I said, all abuse is not physical abuse. So let's address the most obvious: physical abuse. If you are being hit, if you are being pushed, if you are being choked, if you are being slapped, obviously that is physical abuse.
And that's not a healthy marriage.
And that is not a healthy marriage. And not only is it not a healthy marriage, it's not a healthy household. So if you have children and you think that, oh, they're not affected, oh, they don't see it, oh, they don't know, you're fooling yourself. And they do know, and they do see, and they do experience it just as much as you do. So obviously that is one form of abuse. Another is, which is a big one, is psychological abuse. A lot of times it's about dominance and control.
I mean, that's the definition of abuse. It's the a pattern of behavior, that helps, that causes somebody to maintain control and power over somebody else. That is the definition of abuse.
And the word itself, abuse, is an abnormal use. So if someone is playing mind games to get you to do things, to get you to be subservient, to get you to bow down, to fall under his or her rule.
Now, there's a difference between subservience and submission.
There is a difference. Submission is willing. Submission is willing. Subservience is not. You're doing it because you want to keep the peace. You're doing it because you feel like you have no other choice. A lot of times, women that I've spoken with, they know that they are in abusive situations, but they trick themselves. And this is why we thought that this was important, because I've known women who have been in abusive relationships and they know that it's an abusive marriage, but they feel like, oh, I can pray my way out of it. Or if I do this, then he won't hit me. Or if I do this, he won't justify infidelity. Or if I do this, he won't get upset, or he won't allow me to do whatever. He'll allow me to go and visit my family or visit my friends, which leads me to another sign.
I was going to say isolation.
That is one of the biggest ways that abuse is able to continue, because your abuser isolates you from anyone who loves you, anyone who cares about you, anyone who shows any concern or interest in you. They are there to identify why they suck, why they hate you, why they're just doing that, or they're just saying that because they're trying to trick you and you're so dumb you just can't figure it out. So isolation. If you feel like, or if you realize that you're being slowly isolated from your family, your friends, co-workers, church members, clubs, things that you used to be active in, if you've slowly been isolated from that because of your spouse, I'm just saying.
Yeah, and you have to pay attention to these things, because that'll sound like, oh, he just loves me. He just wants to spend time with just me. And that's all fine and dandy, but it's not.
No, it's not.
Okay?
No.
It's not. You have to also think about, ask yourselves the question: Am I being blamed for everything that happens in this marriage?
And including the other person's bad behavior.
Right. It's your fault that I'm this way.
Right.
You know, that's or is somebody in the relationship controlling all of the money? You know, do you have to ask if you could spend or if you could go? Are they making all the decisions? You know, it's what I say. You know, those are all signs of abuse. Okay.
Do they belittle you?
Do they put you down? Exactly. Do they make you feel less than or not important? You know, those are all signs of abuse. Now, you say, well, why are you telling us all this? Well, what am I to do about it? And that's one of the most difficult things is dealing with it. Where do I go? What do I do? And you have a few options. The first option is going to be really, and we're not ministers, we're not preachers or anything like that. We're just sharing with you our thoughts, our experiences with people. The very first thing you need to do is make sure that you give your life to Christ. Okay? And I say that because you're going to need that strength, you know, to help you make these hard decisions. Mm-hmm. Because the decisions aren't easy. They are difficult decisions, especially if you have children involved. Okay? So my first thing to you would be, you know, find your local church, reach out to them about what's going on, get yourself involved in the church ministry that's going to teach you the word uncompromised. You know, not somebody who's just going to hoop and holler and make you feel good for that moment, but they're going to convict you. The word of God is going to convict you and make you think about things that you need to do for yourself or the people around you.
And with that being said, if you find yourself in a local church and they're saying to you, oh, that doesn't sound like abuse, that is probably not the church you need to be in, because abuse is abuse. You've been living it, you know it, you recognize it. Don't allow anybody to talk you out of it.
And what you'll hear from some of the church too is, well, you got to just pray and let God handle it. God didn't make you stupid. Okay, I'm sorry to put it that way, but he didn't. He made you an intelligent being. Okay,
beautifully and wonderfully
made. And wonderfully made. So don't let somebody tell you something that's not happening that is truly happening to you.
Right.
Okay, don't listen, even from church people. Sometimes church people can be some of the worst people. Okay, now the second thing that you can do is there is a national hotline. It's the website is thehotline.org. Okay, you can go to this website. They got tons of information. They can guide you through different steps. You can call. They can help you make arrangements to deal with what you have to deal with if you have to get out. Now, we're not saying that, you know, you leave your husband or leave your wife. That's not what we're saying.
No.
You know your situation. Okay, you know what needs to happen. But we are saying don't allow yourself to stay in an unsafe environment. That's right. All we're saying. In addition to that site, there's the number is 800, I think, 799-SAFE.
And I'll post everything, because just to be sure, I'll post everything.
Yeah, it's 800-799-SAFE. And you can also, there's a text. I think I read there's a text message where you can text them, love is, and we'll post that the phone number there as well. But those are two things that you can do to try and help you get, you know, moving in this relationship, improving yourself. Now, we're not painting your spouse as this demon, because of course we all know that abusers were abused most of the time. Okay, they were abused children. They became abusers as adults. So that's definitely what's got to happen in order for you to change things. Now, another way that you can change things, if there is no abuse, but you want your marriage to still get a little bit better, the one thing is to commit to your marriage. And it sounds really simple. And God holds, I think it's in in the book of Hebrew, where God holds marriage at a high esteem. I think it's in Hebrew 13, maybe. I'm not a Bible scholar, but I know it's there. And, you know, so that the bed is not defiled, and he will judge, you know, immorality. But if God holds your marriage at that type of level, you have to as well. You know, because if you don't, you're not going to commit to doing what it takes to make it better. If you half-heartedly go through doing anything, you're not going to get the best out of it. I'm an ex-athlete. I love sports. And I know that if I want to win, I got to practice. But if I want to be the best, I have to practice.
After practice?
After practice. You know, it takes an extra commitment to make your marriage work. And when you get all in like that, you're not going to let anything destroy your marriage. You know, again, there were going to be bumps and, you know, obstacles in the road, but nothing is going to destroy your marriage because you are fully committed to your spouse. So those are things that you have to do here.
Yeah, I agree. So as signs go, like we said, just to kind of recap, the control, the physical abuse, obviously. Isolation, which is a big one. All of those things. The general feeling of not being safe or knowing that you're not safe. Being mindful of what you say because you don't want to set the person off. Those things need to be dealt with. And I know it's tough. I can't say, oh yeah, I've been there. I have not been there myself. But I have been there vicariously, and I have seen the struggle, and I have seen people, you know, swallow everything and walk back into the lion's den knowing they're about to get devoured because they want to hold on to an ideal or they don't want people to know. Without confrontation, there is no resolution. And if you're in a situation like that, I know that you don't want to remain in a situation like that. So a lot of times you have to be prepared to let go of something in order to really reap the benefits and the rewards. Again, we're not saying pack up all your stuff, pack up your kids and leave, or put your spouse out or anything like that. That's not what we're saying. But
we're saying get help.
Without resolution, without confrontation, there is no resolution. There is going to be some tough stuff said and done and discussed before you come to a resolution. But if you recognize these things in your marriage, please reach out to someone. Talk to somebody. Don't allow yourself to be isolated, and don't hold on to the secret, because that's how abuse of any type, that's how it continues, because nobody says anything. The abuser keeps the secret. The abused keeps the secret. People around keep the secret. And so nothing is ever done. Nothing is ever said. So please, yes, as he said, what we are encouraging you to do, if you recognize these things, is to get some help. That doesn't mean get some help in covering it up. Get some help. Find out for yourself. Find out for your spouse if there's anything, any work that you can do together. But certainly there's going to be some work to do independently. Yeah, individually as well. So, it's a nasty pill. But
it's got to be talked about because it's part of life. Yeah,
it's part of life. And unfortunately, it's part of many households and many marriages. So please address it.
Well, so next week, we'll try and come back on a lighter note. Yeah, we'll come back on a lighter note.
But this is it's so important, though. It really is important.
It is.
And like you said, we don't want people to think, oh, okay, yeah, I can do it. If I do this, then my marriage is going to get better. It takes two. It really does. If I can do all that I want to do, and if my spouse is not doing anything, then I'm just basically building myself up for a letdown, because I will not get things that I need from the marriage as well. So, yeah, next week it'll be important stuff, but on a much lighter note.
Yeah.
So again, I will put all of that information next to the video, under the video. I'll post those numbers and websites. Typically, websites like that have an escape, so that if someone were to walk up behind you, you'd be able to get out of it quickly without showing that what you were looking at. If you hear nothing else, please be honest with yourself and get help. Tell somebody. Do not hold the secret anymore. Tell somebody.
All right, and like always, what I say every week, we're here to help save marriages. Please share, because it's your responsibility as well. That's why we do what we do, to hopefully have a positive impact on your marriage, and you can share with those people around you. So please share and let people know to come and watch the episodes on
Facebook,
Facebook,
The Hunt for Harmony,
Instagram,
The Hunt for Harmony, and of course you can't do it on Twitter. You can't see videos and things. So, but you can get posts, and we kind of update there as well. But the two primary platforms are Facebook and Instagram, both under The Hunt for Harmony, and we're growing. So stay tuned.
One thing I want to do before we say goodbye, I want everybody to, in this next week, to do at least one thing that you wouldn't normally want to do with your spouse.
See, that's a setup.
I challenge everybody.
That's a setup, because I already know
We're going fishing.
See, I knew that. Going fishing. I don't want to go fishing.
But let's everybody try to at least do one thing that you wouldn't normally do with your spouse. All right? Well, take care, everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye.
And save some marriages. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.